Hello everyone, Dr. Vishal Sikka is a prominent Indian-American technology leader, entrepreneur and AI expert. He holds a PhD in artificial intelligence from Stanford University. And that was way back in 1996. So Dr. Sikka, for the students who are here, tell us, were you the only one in the class then?
Oh no, there were a lot of us. That time period was, believe it or not, there was another similar AI hype cycle in the 1980s. And the time that I did my PhD was, things were kind of mellowing out, and we used to call it the AI winter. But there were plenty of people studying AI.
So what is PhD in AI like? I mean, what were you preparing yourself for?
So the idea of making a machine that is intelligent has fascinated people, forever. So around that time, we were sort of in one of these generations where formal systems, reasoning systems, were being built to apply mathematical reasoning to complex problems. For example, medical diagnosis or detecting fraud in credit card transactions or these kinds of things. And that technique had run into some significant limitations. I worked on a very promising approach to connect efficient subsystems into a general purpose reasoner. It's a little bit like plugins today, except the outer system was not a large language model, it was a reasoning system. So it has been fascinating to me over the last 37 or so years that I have been involved in the field to see its development and what we have today.
You have famously said that AI's impact on services and in software is real but not sudden. When you say it's real but not sudden, who all will survive this onslaught at present?
So it is there are two sides to this coin, or tale of two cities, or whatever metaphor you want to use. On the one hand, with AI today, it is possible for a person to be so incredibly more productive with whatever they need to do. I have seen examples where people can do things 20 times, 30 times faster, more efficiently than they did before. One of my friends who was a student with me in AI, when we did our PhDs together, I was just talking to him this morning. He rebuilt a system that was built by 15 engineers over 9 months. He recently rebuilt that system by himself in 14 days using one of these.
So what took 9 months then?
What took 9 months by 15 people with 15 very high-level engineers was rebuilt by himself alone within 14 days. So that's more than 100 times productivity gain. So this is possible today. On the other hand, there is also, if we don't go after these new opportunities, so you can do with that kind of a power, you can do unprecedented things. But on the other hand, the kind of work that we do, the routine work, the knowledge work, that can now also be done much more efficiently. And so there is clearly a disruption there. So both of these truths are there at the same time.
Because you have highlighted the fact that what was being done by 15 individuals is now being done by one person, and in just 14 days. Earlier it was in 9 months. So is AI taking jobs, replacing humans?
So it is doing both. It is creating opportunities for completely new kinds of things that were simply not possible before. And also it is making certain kinds of work completely unnecessary. And both of these are happening at the same time. So it's like a creative destruction that is happening at hyperspeed. So the important thing is to focus on what is it that is possible to do now that is of value. And so I'll give you two examples. One is that at the same time that this friend of mine, did his work 100 times more efficiently, there are also people who don't see the benefit from AI because they end up making more mistakes. They don't end up catching the mistakes, and then fixing the mistakes that AI makes takes them longer than it would have taken them to do the whole thing from scratch, etc. So I think the statement there is that in the hands of people who understand how to use this, it is an incredibly powerful tool. The second thing I want to say is that you can do completely new kinds of things before. And one of my customers, it's a large distributor in the Middle East. He was telling us that, he was actually telling some of my other customers that one of their major suppliers decided to shut down their manufacturing in one of the countries in the region. And they had to quickly understand the consequences of this, that now this main FMCG company is no longer going to produce locally. What do we do as a result of this? And they ran a bunch of these complex analyses using our product, using my company's product. And as a result of that analysis, they decided to shut down their operations in that country. Now, think about how this would have unfolded before AI. You would have, maybe somebody shuts down their factory, you hire, expensive consultants, and you say, guys, what are the consequences of this? You pay them millions of dollars, 3 months later they come back and give you this analysis. Instead, you are doing this within 5 minutes, within 10 minutes, and you take such a major decision. So work that was done by, if you wanted to even do it, would be done over months by teams of people, can now be done in minutes. So then the question is, what can you do with this? What powerful things can this enable for you?
Yes.
So I think, I am an optimist and an entrepreneur, and I like to think of what is it that we can do with this, rather than what things of the past will it disrupt.
Because there was this very interesting conversation that you were having with our executive editor-in-chief, and she used a phrase, boss mode. So does the AI respond best in the boss mode?
I think bosses who are bosses, not just, she's a real boss. I think if you say take boss mode as understanding the limitations of AI, taking the work that AI produces for you in a way that amplifies what you are doing, and yet you are careful, you apply your rigor, your scrutiny to what it has done, my God, it is an unbelievably powerful tool. But if you just blindly take what it gives you, then it is not so powerful. Then it is just, it regresses you to the mean of what is known.
So AI is not a friend.
It is a tool.
So how you engage with AI becomes important.
Yes, how you engage with it, how you use this tool. It is, a little bit north of Chennai, about 100 kilometers north of Chennai is a town called Atirampakkam. They recently found these Stone Age tools there from 250,000 years ago. 2.5 lakh saal purane. We were making tools 250,000 years ago. This is a new tool that has been built. And the question is, what will you do with this tool? It is the whole thing about AGI, and this is all nonsense, that we should abandon that. You look at it as a powerful tool that is kind of an approximate condensation of all the bunch of human knowledge that has been known. What will you do with this?
Okay, Dr. Sikka, in 2015, you invested in OpenAI. What did you see that most people did not?
Well, it was a donation because OpenAI was a pure non-profit at the time. We gave them, I think, $3 million or something like this. Yeah, it was 11 years ago. So I had just started at, at Infosys, and the AlexNet was already 2 years old. AlexNet was the computer vision system that had beat human performance on a benchmark called ImageNet that was built by Fei-Fei Li. So all of a sudden, there was a neural network system that was able to do vision tasks even better than humans. So the trajectory was kind of clear of where this was headed. And we had to have a AI platform that we could use. And so here was Sam, who was looking to build an open AI platform. So to me, it was kind of it was obvious. It seemed straightforward that we should do this.
Okay, and since you're talking about Infosys, back then, you wanted Infosys to be India's AI-first company. As someone who has the knack of spotting transformative technologies, why couldn't you implement it then? Why didn't we take that leap through Infosys or similar companies, what perhaps United States and other countries did?
Well, we did a lot. You know, we built our own platform back then. We had a large collection of efforts that we were doing, which I thought was remarkable for the time. But like I said, I tend to look forward and look at what is possible now with AI. And I think, at the time, what we had, we did what we could, and it's a different time now. So.
Okay. In terms of its limits, like hallucinations in particular, which is being repeatedly spoken about, where do you think a role of companies and also countries come in with regards to regulation? And in summits such as this, which is happening in India, do you think India will show the way for regulations?
So, the idea of regulation, we are sitting here in this room and we are comfortable that this roof is not going to fall on our heads because of regulation. Okay. Even like barbers who cut our hair are regulated. So what is the problem with regulating AI? It is an unbelievably powerful technology. You better believe it should be regulated. And I'm very proud that the Indian government actually is taking a very leading and uncompromising stand on regulation, on safety, on ethics. It is very important to do that. The point about hallucinations, AI today, generative AI, is inherently hallucinatory. It is not a deterministic system. It is a system based on probabilities. You pick the most likely next token when you give it a prompt. And so that hallucination creates the need for regulation, for safety and things like that. It also creates an opportunity. People and organizations who can understand how to tame the hallucination, how to close that last mile. By the way, it is much worse than the last mile. It is more like last 100 miles at enterprises, for example. Those organizations are going to do very, very well. So hallucination is an inherent attribute of AI. It creates the burden of regulation, the burden of safety and duty of care and things like that. At the same time, it also creates an opportunity for companies to mitigate it, and my company works in this area, in order to deliver valuable solutions.
Dr. Sikka, when we started this conversation, you said that there was an AI bubble in the 1980s, right?
Yeah.
So is this also a bubble?
The thing is that there's the whole stock market and valuations, all of that. I don't want to get into all that. But there have been hype cycles around AI multiple times before. When Frank Rosenblatt built the perceptron in the 1950s, the New York Times had a headline that the scientist has built a system that mimics the human brain, and so there have been hype around AI many times before. In the 1980s, there was a whole massive hype around AI. There were VCs that were exclusively AI VCs. There were hardware companies. There were all kinds of services companies focusing on AI. People find it hard to believe now, but that happened. If you look at the math today, there are a few gaps, let's put it like this. For example, NVIDIA, which is one of the incredible companies, they have done extraordinary engineering. If you look at their revenues are in the neighborhood of $60 billion a quarter. So that's about $250 billion a year, let's say, give or take. They make a real product. They make a GPU. It's about the size of a toaster oven. People buy it, $250 billion a year. This is real. On top of the GPU, cloud companies add another 2x the amount to make that available as infrastructure. So that's around 750, 800 billion a year of real spend. So far we are in the real world. And then people expenses on top of it and all that. If you amortize this 800 billion over, let's say, 4 years, that means you need 200 billion a year in revenue just to recover these 800 billion in spend. So where is that 200 billion? OpenAI is at what, 15, 20 billion revenue, something like this. So there is a huge gap. And that gap, you could say that gap is a bubble. You could say that gap is a gap in the kind of applications that people have not been able to produce yet. But it is very clear that yes, there is a severe shortage of GPUs and all of that. But at the same time, valuable applications of AI that enterprises or other people find worthwhile are not there yet. And we need to deal with that.
So as a visionary, what will be your cautionary tale on AI? Because if there has been similar bubbles multiple times in the past.
You have to invest carefully, make sure there is ROI and things like this. And on the other hand, if you are an application builder, right now, sky is the limit for you.
Sky is the limit. And AI is not future, AI is present.
AI is here, it is in the present. These things are not, someone saying, oh my God, in 10 years, this is what is going to happen. This is happening right now. So.
All right, Dr. Sikka, really appreciate